by PrepperNow. This is the addendum I had promised you earlier today. I'm going to just go through it. This isn't a lot, but it's an update, and it's kind of where we left off. So, of course, this is something you need to join up here where the cursor is. Thank you. And we are going to bust out a real quick one with the intel on what has been updated since this morning's vid. So I appreciate you being here. Hit the buttons and stuff, like and yada yada to the yada, and we are going to get started on this crisis report addendum for April 27th, 2025. Here we go. China took control and claimed sovereignty over an uninhabited reef in South China Sea, according to state media, with as China set the stage for escalations of tensions with the Philippines over the disputed area. It is right by one of their major bases. China is going to restart negotiations with North Korea, according to Axios. Trump administration is considering options for potentially restarting dialogue with North Korea. Netanyahu says Israel will destroy Iran's nuclear reactors and enrichment facilities. New details show the female pilot of the Black Hawk helicopter that collided with an American Airlines flight at Reagan National Airport ignored her co-pilot's warning and made multiple critical errors, according to the New York Times, and more. North Korea confirms it has deployed troops to Russia, according to Yonhap. Donald Trump says he sees the satellite pictures from Ukraine, which are horrible. Body parts are lying all over the fields. Megatron is definitely pro-Gaza. He said that it seems he hasn't seen those from Gaza yet. I think he has. I just don't think it's as much of a... He's obviously Team Israel, so... Report in the Wall Street Journal, major disagreements were recorded today in talks between Iran and the U.S., although the parties ultimately claimed that the talks were useful and positive. Disagreements centered mainly on the question of whether Iran could continue to enrich uranium on its own, and also on the United States' desire to include Iran's missile program in the agreement. Bush. Driver of a vehicle drove into the Lapu Lapu Festival, Vancouver, Canada, earlier, killing and injuring several people, has since been detained by police. Witnesses at the scene state that he appears to be a 20-year-old Asian male and possibly mentally challenged in some way. Just a terrible story. In the past 24 hours, the United States regime military jets have conducted at least 23 airstrikes across several locations, including residential areas in the governorates of Sana'a, Saada, Hudaydah, Al-Jaf, and Marib. Details of these attacks are as follows. Saada, 4 strikes in the Kitaf district, 3 strikes around the city of Saada. Sana'a's strikes targeting residential areas in the Al-Radwa neighborhood of Bani Harith district and residential building near Lebanon Hospital in the Al-Sabin district. Hudaydah strikes on Ras Isa Port in the Salif district, Cameron Island. 3 attacks on the Galaxy leadership off the coast of Hudaydah. If you got to remember that ship has been moored there for quite some time. It was taken over at the early part when Houthis entered in the Red Sea battle, or whatever the heck you want to call it. 3 attacks on the Galaxy leadership off the coast. Al-Jaf, 4 strikes in the Al-Anan district. Marib, 1 attack in the Al-Magal district. Another European church destroyed by arsonists. 2 teenagers have been arrested on the suspicion of setting an 18th century church on fire in the Port Talbot in the United Kingdom. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, Russia would be willing to store Iran's enriched nuclear material if both the U.S. and Iran believe that that is useful. If the large explosion in Bandar Abbas wasn't enough for Iran, a large sandstorm has hit Tehran today. According to Iranian media, the number of deaths in the explosion in the port of Bandar Abbas has risen to 40, and the number of injured has risen to 1,205. Iran's Rockna news agency reports a massive fire near Tehran's southern bus terminal along the Raisi Expressway. More than 24 hours later, explosions continue to rock Bandar Abbas as more containers detonate. True death toll is several times higher than officially reported and currently exceeds 100. IRGC intelligence force and other organs of repression have mobilized not to contain the fires or rescue the wounded, but to control the situation and cover up the shipment of solid fuel for ballistic missiles and the full scale of the disaster. Netanyahu sets two conditions for a deal with Iran. It says all nuclear infrastructure in Iran should be dismantled. Iran's ICBM development should be limited. This is the deal we could liberate. Anything short of that could bring in the opposite result, Israeli Prime Minister said at the Jewish News Syndicate Summit. Pakistan's Information Minister to Al Arabiya. All options are on the table to respond to India's decision to suspend the Indus River Treaty. After the Chinese deliveries of advanced long-range missiles, Turkish Air Force cargo planes were spotted heading to Pakistan amid rising tensions with India. For the first time, an Iranian official has accused Israel of involvement in the Bandar Abbas port explosion. Mohammad Sarraj, a member of the Iranian parliament, Israel was involved in the port explosion. This was not an accident, and there are clear signs of Israeli involvement. They had precisely calculated the timing of the container's arrival at the port to cause the most damage. So that's going to evolve. So just keep watching that, which we are. It's going to evolve. It's not going to get better. We got some problems with all that, but we'll get there. It basically seems like it was targeted. You know, you can say, oh, maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was. But I think it'd be crazy not to think that it wasn't some form of, 6th-gen warfare. An illegal immigrant was arrested for stealing Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's expensive Gucci bag, which held $3,000 in cash and other personal belongings. You can't make this up. She's out there trying to get rid of these guys, and one of them steals her purse. Moderna faces suspension in the UK for offering children cash and teddy bears. Oh, how lovely. To participate in Rona trials and misleading regulators about it. That's great. President Trump demands that those who operated Joe Biden's autopen be jailed. They almost destroyed our country. They belong in prison. A lot of people belong in prison. Meta's AI chatbots, this is a nice one, on Facebook and Instagram have been found engaging in a graphic sexual conversation with minors, mimicking the voices of Disney characters and celebrities. You cannot make this up. Oh my God, what is wrong with that company? Wow. AI chatbots mimicking Disney and celebrity voices to engage in graphic sexual conversation with children. Oh, man. I can't even. And there's a real story. We're going to actually cover that over on PrepperNow after this. But, it's just, what is wrong with them? What is wrong with so many things? Senator Chuck Schumer says Democrats might move to impeach Trump once they retake control of the House and Senate, because that's what everybody's thinking. They're like, hey, get rid of Trump. That's what I want because, my taxes are too high. I can't find a job. My home and everything is unaffordable. You know what we should do? We should impeach a politician because that's going to fix everything. They just don't get it. Ferry crashes near Clearwater Causeway north of Tampa, Florida. Several people hurt. Local sources report that flooding in the Jhelum River, located in northern India and eastern Pakistan, occurred after India released water without prior notification. War there. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un announced the decision to enter the war in Ukraine under Article 4 defense treaty with Russia. Thus, there is a possibility of sending additional troops and a potential escalation of their more open participation in the war. Microelectronics plant Kreml was under attack in Bryansk. At least 2 to 3 hits were recorded in the factory's workshop. This is the 5th attack in Kreml during the war against Ukraine. Pakistan has deployed multiple squadrons of J-10s, JF-17s, and F-16s near Karachi in the Karachi port. Iranian firefighters are dropping fire-extinguishing powder bags over the hotspot of the Bandar Abbas blast, reminiscent of Chernobyl. Pakistani FM has spoken to the Chinese foreign minister, but both sides jointly oppose unilateralism and hegemonic policies and agreed to advance their shared objectives of peace, security, and sustainable development. Whoa, very interesting things have been happening in the past 24 hours. Pakistan activating its Skardu in Saida Sharif Air Force Base shows it's totally buckling under pressure. If I have to explain it in simple terms, basically, Pakistan uses Lahore and Sargodha as its frontal bases. At second, if those frontal bases are incapacitated, the fallback is Peshawar. Now Pakistan is activating a second front from the north, Skardu and Sindhu Sharif. It's mostly anticipating a multi-pronged attack from India. India keeping it quiet and letting it drag out is playing the anticipation to its advantage. Already have noticed movement of multiple squadrons to Karachi. This is getting really, really interesting. Locals in Swat, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa report low-flying F-16s and JF-17s after reports of Pakistan activating its airbase there. Additional visuals posted online by Pakistani locals of the Saidu Sharif airbase. Visuals show multiple JF-17s running low-altitude sorties in case they have to land here. Question is, why is Pakistan allowing these videos to circulate? Why? Very strange. New visuals from Pakistan said to be from Sakur has just around 80-odd kilometers from the international border of India. Equipment being transported is the Chinese-made SH-15 155mm 6x6 howitzer. SH-15 has a maximum firing range of 20 kilometers with standard ammunition and 53 kilometers with a rocket-assisted artillery projectile. More visuals from locals in Pakistan. This time, visuals are from the center of Lahore. Movement of Chinese-made SH-15 155 6x6 howitzer in front of the Fortress Square Mall. Geolocated, only about 20 kilometers from the border with India. China fully understands Pakistan's efforts to safeguard its sovereignty, supports fair and timely investigation into the Pahalgam terrorist attack. And during the night of the 27th to 28th of April 2025, Pakistan Army posts initiated unprovoked small arms fire across the line of control in areas opposite Kupwara and Poonch districts. Indian troops responded swiftly and effectively. Indian Army statement. So that's from Aquila. He is anticipating a strike from India soon, but he says they're kind of drawing it out. But he also says that, like, this is their first international test. So how India deals with this is going to be really important. And whether they are now on the world stage as one of the hegemons of power or just a country with 1.5 billion people that can't handle their business, which isn't good because their business will be war. So that could be bad. And that, my friends, is your crisis report addendum for April 27, 2025. Please hit that like button, subscribe here if you are new, and we would like to see you again. Keep hitting the buttons and stuff, but we are, hopefully you checked out the earlier video. We'll get back to normal programming in a day, next evening, tomorrow night, about the same time. And we hope you will join us because the intel never stops, and this is the most comprehensive news on YouTube. So if you want to know what's going on and you care, but God knows he's doing, well, I don't know who that guy is, but over here we try to do our best. Check out the links in the description. Darken out the bell. Join us on Truth Minds, Gab Social, Truth Social, X, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. All those. And then, of course, subscribe, start on locals. So a few bucks there for those. Or you can be like Howard Clegg, one of the cool kids, and get a membership to help support the channel. We're just glad you're here. Okay? All right, we're going over to PrepperNow to talk about how Facebook is using their AI chatbots to talk to the little children about a whole bunch of inappropriate stuff. God bless.